what God required us for we to begin to receive benefit and live above racism, and live above poverty, and live above crisis, live above whatever, and have that unity and become one, is to set human will to be in alignment with the will of God, and the human culture to be in alignment with the will of God. Without this, there can never be any peace in the world.
Hey guys, Divine Susie on live show, Truth Market platform. I'm live here with you. And we are coming again, and we have come again to broaden our hearts, open our eyes to what we are in for. And just like we rightly said, the Truth Market is a total coverage, both scientific, culturally, economically, politically, and otherwise. So in every aspect, we are all encompassing, and we have come today again, and we are going to be giving you something live and direct. So please stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Remember, I am Divine Susie, and I want to welcome to the show a very special person in our midst, the resource person, the set man, and the person of the servant, D.U. Ifanacho. So you're highly welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, audience. I know we have been benefiting from our discussion, and we keep on encouraging you to continue for more updates and understanding, and we oblige you to ask questions in the comment section. Very, very important that we will know area we're going to treat more and enlighten you, for that is what we are living for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your presence. And also I want to identify the person and the presence of Projudo Bodu. You're highly welcome, sir.
Thank you, viewers. Welcome to the Truth Market. As usual, my pleasure. This is God's greatest gift to humanity. If you don't discover it now, you must discover it later.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, right, and direct live in the show is Brother Chedozie. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Susie.
Thank you.
We thank our viewers for being part of this wonderful section.
Did you hear you, sir?
We will thank also our viewers for being part of this wonderful section.
Wow, all right. So thank you for being part of this wonderful section. And it's really going to blow your mind. It's going to be a wow. So please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. And we're bringing your way today. We're going to be looking at culture, you know. Just like I said earlier in our introduction, I made you to understand that it's a total coverage, all encompassing. So we're touching every part. So cultural people gather here, we'll have something to talk about. And you see, when we're talking about culture, is look at it in different perspectives. A lot of people have different culture, you know, and that makes the difference. But today we're going to be learning something new, and that is in this direction. So I'm going to be directing it to the servant, because from our recent discoveries, from his documentaries, yes, so get to discover that he's trying to let us know it is possible to have a unified culture. So sir, I want to come this way. Is it really possible to have a universal culture?
Is it possible to have a universal culture? Yeah, it's possible. And by extension, if we may ask a question, God is universal. Truth is universal. Sun is universal. Air is universal. Soil is universal. Water is universal. Then why is it a question, so to say, is it possible to have a universal culture? You find out that there is elements of man ignorance and religiosity into the culture, blending the culture of men with the culture of God. So we have to come to this understanding to know that there are two different opposing culture, which is the culture of God and the culture of men, divine culture and human culture. You understand? Because when you look at everything that is created of God, then they are universal. You understand? And the truth is also universal. This is the one men discovered. Like mathematics, 2 plus 2 is 4 everywhere in 1 million years, present days, anywhere in the world, and in 1 billion years to come, 4 plus 4 is still Earth. So this is why it is said that mathematics is the language of nature, or the language of God, because everything created in the universe is built upon science and on mathematics. But as much as you can discover. So now, having seen all these things, including the one men have created or discovered by themselves, I think 22nd laws of truth say that truth is not created, but discovered. Is this 22nd or 21st laws of truth? 21st laws of truth. Truth is not created, but discovered. So there is nobody that have ever created truth, but you discover it based on your awakening and understanding. So now it is a limitation of man to have a culture that opposes the culture of God. Is this a limitation? But because of the trinity of evil, which is Satan, religion, and ignorance, instead of a man continuing to discover and look into nature, to use the known to conquer the unknown, they settle at this limitation of creating their own nature and culture based on their own reasoning, and thereby limiting the power that be, and at the same time begin to defend error instead of trying to understand more about God. And what becomes a stumbling block to this is religion and ignorance as well, because religion came and began to bring human culture and try to defend it and promote it and propagate it for it to become a divine culture. But it's an assignment unto humanity, which we came to do, that unless the culture of men aligns with the culture of God, there can never be peace on earth. Because looking at all these things which I have mentioned, you find out that the culture of God is a constant, but the culture of man is a variable. You understand? It is geographically determined, culturally determined, racially determined, and that is why it is opposing God's, the will of God, and there can never be peace unless that is being aligned. The culture of man is aligned to the culture of God. So that is the assignment given to humanity by our Lord Jesus Christ in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 10. He said, let your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. So it's an assignment of man to make sure, continue tuning the frequency of human culture to make it to align with the culture of God, divine culture. Unless there is this disalignment, then there will always be a problem. There will always be division. There will always be racism. There will always be strife. There will always be competition. There is always be inferiority complex in a society, because every culture is trying to promote their own culture in ignorance and in error, erroneously, claiming that it is superior to the other ones. So it is the duty of man to continue in the scientific approach to life, bypassing religion and protocol, destroying religion as a system, then getting awakened to silence ignorance, so that men will know that the assignment every person has here on earth is to align his will to the will of God. Let your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. Then as long as men continue in this their culture, and their culture is a variable, everything passes away. And those that claim to defend their culture, is that? defend their culture against the universal culture, then as much as they project it into the society by fire, by force, by religion, or by whichever medium which they are using, propaganda or heresy, then you find out that society will always be unrest. Society will always be unrest because it is not universal. And two, even if an individual is raised in a barbaric culture, in a culture that is not in alignment with the culture of God Almighty, then when that a person who is raised in that society, when you become awakened, you will oppose your father's culture. It's natural. When you become awakened, enlightened, encounter truth, encounter Jesus, encounter something that is universal, things that is not religious, then you are bound to oppose it because you have been, yes, if you have truth in you. Because what is inside of you is above the things that is the physical and the culture which people have caged you to behave like. Two, any culture that is being practiced, when any reasonable stranger comes into that culture, they contract it and they repel one another. That person who is enlightened and awakened, who immediately comes to a culture, a strange culture, is going to suffocate, and there must be a conflict. So to bring peace in the world, then we have to deal and synchronize the culture of man to be in alignment with the culture of God. Just as we had discussed someday, I'm putting on a wristwatch. When this wristwatch is bought, what happened? The time was not moving because there was a seal. Okay. The company that manufactured it used to hold the time. Or maybe they have removed the seal and the time is moving, but it is not the same thing with the time, the universal time or whatever, national time or whatever. Yes. Now, when you get that watch, what do? You have to set it to be in alignment with the universal timing in the physical world. If not, you'll be having a wrong time. So this is how it is to humanity. Your duty is to research and question and ask the perfect will of God. Are you listening to me? Perfect will of God when you come into this world. Then when you understand the universal principle, you have to fine-tune the societal value, human reasoning, imagination, onto that nature as it has been programmed, as we have it in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10, where it says that every imagination should be brought under subjection. 10 verse 5. Yes. Should be brought under subjection to the perfect will of God. You understand? Yes, so now it is the duty of men to make sure that their culture align with the culture of God. In the book of Isaiah chapter 55, starting from verse 8, the scripture is saying, my thoughts and my thoughts and your thoughts, my will and my way of doing things and your way of doing things, my culture and your culture, they are not the same thing. So you have to change your will, your thought pattern, to align with the word of God, the will of God. As heaven is wide apart between heaven and earth, that is how the thought of God and the will of God is between men. So when what God required us for we to begin to receive benefit and live above racism, and live above poverty, and live above crisis, live above whatever, and have that unity and become one, is to set human will to be in alignment with the will of God, and the human culture to be in alignment with the will of God. Without this, there can never be any peace in the world.
I want to come in a little bit, sir.
Is that understood?
Yes, because you are level.
Yeah.
The level you are
Operating.
operating now
Yeah,
in
yeah.
your explanation
Yeah,
might have suspended some of our viewers.
yeah. Okay.
You know, those people that maybe, let me look at people in the secondary school.
Okay.
That's not gotten to this level.
Okay.
Of understanding.
Okay.
What you're explaining.
Okay.
I want to know. You know, you'll be saying, tuning yourself to the will of God, tune this, tune that.
Yeah.
How would someone who just, found himself somewhere, actually, what are the things and how can he understand this particular divine culture at a point in time where he found himself?
Okay. Now, the divine culture, as I said, truth is divine culture. The will of God is truth, and truth is Jesus. And the only way to understand God and understand the will of God and the culture of God, one is to deal with trinity of evil. You must remove religion into human existence, because every child is born into one religion or the other, either paganism or Islamic religion or a Christian religion or any form of religion. Now, these people will come and tell you that this is the original time. They set their own time to conflict and contradict the will of God. They set their culture to conflict with the will of God. Now, if you say now you are a Christian, what makes you a Christian? Is it by your dressing code? The answer is no, but they made it be. Do you put God in a book? The answer is no, but they made it be that Christians have their own religious book, which they defend with the last drop of their blood, caging humanity to think in a certain pattern that if you fall a victim of being born in a religion, as is common to every person, you must follow that thing which is written, whether it is the will of God or against the will of God, whether it is universal or not universal. You must be forced to follow it. So, for we now to help everyone is that religion has to go. Then every child will now begin to hold on to truth. Without religion, God is God. With religion, God is mad before humanity. God is misrepresented. God is misinterpreted. God is being opposed as a culture of men. Have you forgotten? Religion was once a culture. It was once a culture of people. That's why when you start reading Old Testament, they begin to tell you, God of Israel, God of Israel. Does God have a local, is it localized that Israel owns a God? That even till today, many people are still saying they are blessed nation. Blessed nation for what?
Just like Romans say their own Catholic.
Yes. Roman Catholic, Roman culture, Roman paganism, Roman slavery, Roman nonsense. You get the point? So now God is put in a book. So it was once a culture. That's what I'm coming to say.
Exactly.
Now the whole Old Testament is God of Israel, God of Shadrach, God of Meshach, God of Abednego. Then when Jesus Christ came, he's a universal man. He came with a universal principle. Then these religious people continue suppressing him. He said, I came for the whole world, not for a particular tribe. Now, when Solomon built a house, in the book of Kings, he built a house and said, my God will stay in the tabernacle. So he wants to put God in a tabernacle. And they call it the Holy of Holies. So anyone who is not getting to that tabernacle or did not go to that tabernacle or not from Israel is does not have anything to do with God. When Jesus was born and died, the day he was crucified, he said no. The curtain, which was the veil, the evil in the society, was torn into two. before the Holy of the Holies.
Yes.
And everybody had access to God.
Exactly.
Then that was symbolically proving that God cannot be put in a place.
Yes.
So Solomon got it wrong. Is that okay? So now, any child, whether you are in secondary school or in primary school or in nursery school, yes, we say no child is born religious. But every child, many children are born in a religious home. No child is born poor. But many children are born in a poor family. No child is born stupid. But every child is born many children are born in a stupid and useless and a foolish family. Now, coming to our question back again, when a child is born, the cry of a child in London is the same cry of a child in Africa.
Yes.
But when he begins to grow up, they begin to fine-tune them with their culture, and the child begins to mimic what he came to meet in the world. But the things of God is universal. So, what is to be done for every child to be tuned to that frequency? One is that religion must go. When you go to a church, okay, like you now, you were born a Christian. If you were born when you were a child and you were born a Muslim, what would you have done? Would you have been a Christian? The answer is no. Practically no.
Yes.
Then the people in Islam now are defending Quran as the best book. A child grown up there who might not have an encounter with people who are under Judaism or under paganism, under Christian religion, because Christianity is not a religion. It's a universal principles of men of how to get things right on earth, that men will live an abundant life here in the physical world. Now, if that child grew up following that particular book where they put God in a pocket and he grew up that, he would die thinking he has seen God. He didn't know that he has seen God of a religion. You see the punishment there? So, but if religion is rolled out, then every culture, every tradition, every practice will now be edited by the universal nature of it. How is it solving a problem to humanity? Then, if this thing is a particular a culture of a people, then if you go to London, it's still relevant, useful, like petroleum here in Nigeria is there in London, is there everywhere. It's still useful everywhere. Fire burn every person, everywhere, whether you are from Israel or from Arab. Now, look at people now again, coming again in other religion, now bringing Arab. Everybody must become Arabic for you to access God. Now, you are reading what you don't even understand, but you must read it because a culture has cloned you. You must speaking what you don't understand, but you must speak it. Because somebody somewhere, he wants to project an agenda which opposes the universal nature of God. Have you seen it? So it is not a complex issue. As far as we are concerned, the first thing every child should do, starting from parents, because many parents will first hear us before a child. You have to tear away the garment of religion. That in which they tell you that God said in Old Testament, you check it whether it is universal. Does it solve problem? As soon as it's not solving problem, you discard it. Then, as the teaching of the New Jerusalem continue widening and reaching out, then everybody will now have access to the laws of truths, which will be used to edit every action, every culture, everything you say. Then the third laws of truth say that truth must be common, internal, and universal. So any culture you bring, and it is not universal, it is not the same yesterday, today, and forever, then you know that it should not apply in the human life. and should not be accepted. So how to tune to the frequency of God is look for the teaching of the New Jerusalem for now, get the laws of truth. Then, if you don't have access to that, roll away religion, open yourself with the will and the free mind to do good. Nature will supply you information that will make you to live a perfect life.
So
Also,
Is that understood?
yes, there is something talking about how to disseminate, when the good news from the New Jerusalem comes across, who gets used to it,
Yeah,
lay hand on the truth, definitely is going to help
yeah.
people to now begin to say, okay, I've seen it, I've gotten the truth, I was in error before. Now I want to bring in two things. Technology has done, keep on saying it, more harm than good these days, because sometimes what people watch, what they see, if you come to the internet, a lot of people has begun to shift away. Whatever you project in the internet has what it takes to change people's understanding and way they live. Just like, and the second one again is what happened during the time of colonialism, where the empires reigned, and at the point of colonizing people, you see people behaving just like the Nigerians who are colonized by the British. You see people trying to mimic their culture and their way of life. Don't you think that can be a hindrance to how to make this thing, the truth from the New Jerusalem, go far and wide?
It can be a hindrance.
Yes.
It will not be a hindrance. For you to make anything that is bad to spread, the only thing is to develop it and bring it to perfection. When you bring it to perfection, you make the existing one obsolete. Like our teaching now, you have every freedom, just as I started with, ask any question. You understand? Yes. We shouldn't even be talking about technology. Technology has done so much good in the society. Why people are using technology against themselves is because there is no truth, there is no morality to edit technology. But like you now and I, technology has done so much good to us. So what you just be hammering on that need to be dealt with is religion, not technology. Without technology, we cannot be here in the YouTube talking. Is that okay? So immediately religion is being dealt with. Technology is a minor case. Because as soon as people are projecting evil and you are projecting truth, over time, truth will overcome evil. But if truth is not available, then technology is just there. Technology is a constant as well, and technology is dormant, so to say, or passive. It's humanity that acts on technology. It's already invented. Just as humanity acts on what God created and use it for evil. Which we said that every truth has an unactivated evil. So the earth is created beautifully, beautified with things. But humanity came and activated it into evil. So also technology. But religion has nothing good in it from the first day it was set. You understand? But as someone who manufactured technology to a large extent, like the camera we are using now, the microphone we are using now, they didn't mean bad. YouTube, they didn't mean bad, but the people that are using it can use it for evil. So in this our discussion of culture, technology should not be there. We have to look at what really matters intentionally from formation. Technology has no negative intention in formation.
It's an objective platform.
Is that okay? Yes.
So let me come in a bit.
Okay.
I want to do some articulation. You have simplified the generational conflict the world has been experiencing up to now.
Okay.
And that's equally, this is the evolution of religion. Conflict between the culture of God and the culture of man.
Yeah.
And you have let us know now that the culture of God is truth, which solves problem for good and benefits everyone. So any child growing up
in a universal form.
any child growing up, whatever in any way you are is not truthful, doesn't solve problem for good, and does not benefit anyone, should not be adhered to.
Yeah.
So I have a little question, sir.
Okay.
You know that culture is the basis for social identity.
Okay.
For any group of people, what makes the Igbo man, the French man, the Ghana man, the Yoruba man to be differentiated socially is the way they behave. Culture is the way of life of the people. So, does it mean that we'll jettison all aspects of a people's culture?
Okay, and A is the way of what? Who? Let's talk it. A is the culture of who?
Culture of everyone.
Everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fire is the culture of who?
Everyone.
Okay. Light is the culture of who?
Everyone.
Okay. Then why are we now talking about Igbo culture?
What I mean is that is there anything? Is there not something good in these cultures that could be upheld for universal
For
translation?
identification. Now, if the truth should apply, culture, every culture should be brought on the table of truth to edit it by the truth. As soon as doubt, even if you say it is not harmful, as the case you may be, but when you deepen the harmfulness of a culture, you find out that it wastes people's time. Because you will not sense it in that way. But we are now sensing it that cultures, there are so many cultures that are not creative, that are not productive, that cannot be amplified into saving lives. Now, Yoruba people now have a culture of dancing. Which culture of dancing have culture of dancing solve any human problem?
Entertainment.
Entertaining you for what? A fool cannot be entertained. You understand? Why can't you use creativity to entertain yourself? So the truth now is that everything, every culture will be brought. When we did, will be brought into edition to know whether it meets the universal standard of God. Now, why are we identifying our people as a culture, as a Yoruba, as Igbo, as this, when the weightier matter is left unidentified? And that weightier matter, which is supposed to be identified, is how do we become one? So culture is still trying to carve out that this is a group of people in a certain way. This is what projects inferiority complex, racism, nepotism, tribalism, strife, competition, antagonism, and differentiation and division in the life of people. Now, we are here in the embassy of the New Jerusalem. What is our culture? Our culture is the universal culture of God. That is why when you came to the embassy of the New Jerusalem, I'm an Igbo by tribe, but no longer an Igbo, so to say, but a New Jerusalemite. And I think and do and behave like Jesus Christ, no longer like an Igbo man.
I hear that.
And that is the reason why when you come to the embassy of the New Jerusalem, me being the caretaker, so to say, is that okay? Now, all tribes is here. Eating food free here. Going to school free here. Learning handwork free here. So what, we are not related by blood. We are not related by tribe. We are not related by anything but by the truth. So we have a platform, a universal platform, which we set and we say, anyone, any tribe, any culture, anywhere you are coming from, as long as you meet this standard, then you are my brother, you are my sister. My father said it in the book of Matthew chapter 12. When they came and told him we were addressing people, they came and told him that Mary and your brothers are looking for you. He said, no. I don't have a brother. I don't have a sister. My brother and my sister are those who listen to this word and keep to it. So why should we now be trying to say that this is Igbo? This is this, when the weightier matter of unity has not, universal nature of God, has not really been developed. So I think instead of us struggling to be a Yoruba, or struggling to be Igbo or Hausa, let us make sure that we first tune the nature of the behavioral pattern of everybody to become in alignment with the will of God. I have conquered racism, I've conquered tribalism, I have conquered all manner of things that make someone to represent people. Then this is how it's supposed to be to everyone. Am I communicating with you? So every culture should be brought to know, even if it meets, it doesn't harm any person. We now begin to look at it again on the creative nature. Which problem does it solve? Have you seen the wealthiest man in a village being a dancer? I'm asking.
It's not possible.
Yeah? Like Ikorodo and Atirogu and all that cultural dance. Have you seen someone? It is the mechanism of the bourgeoisie and the capitalists to distract people so that the limited resources they have in the physical world, the fools will not compete with them. And that is what still why religion came, to create a difference. You know, in certain religion, they say that a particular people, in all the religion, a particular people is anointed and blessed to access God. But no one is blessed and anointed to receive to receive son. But religion now came and brought it as a culture and twisted it as a word of God to oppose God himself again and begin now to tell you that, yes, this person is a man of God, then you are a man of devil, to suck you dry. Instead of giving you a universal principle to strike a balance. So religion also promotes inequality and culture also promotes inequality, which oppose the standard, the universal nature of God. Now, when someone now come and begin to tell you that this person is a messenger of God, religion will do everything to immortalize this person, that whatever he says, even where he is wrong, nobody can edit him. Now, people begin to believe someone's word, not because it works, not because it solves problem, but because of the culture and the value people have already given into it. Not because it is valuable, but people impose value on it. Just like the religious books today. Everybody knows that religious books are not working. But because of the value and intimidation imposed on it, then you have to believe it out of fear, whether you like it or not. Then it's become dogmatized. You get a point?
Exactly.
Now, this is still that a part of culture you are trying to propagate. So culture should, if you are talking about Igbo culture, okay, let our culture become that we know how to process gari. We know how to process palm oil. We know how to process and ask God and find out why palm wine. What can we use palm wine to, which medicine will we use palm wine to create and manufacture? In which pharmaceutical industry can it be of fit in? Now you find out that since palm wine was discovered in Igbo land, it has been killing and destroying people. They have been using it as a culture to kill and destroy people and poison people. Nobody.
Using it for productivity.
Thank you. I don't even want to call the whites, but I'm just saying it. There is, what are we going now to do to improve upon this thing, that we will use palm wine instead of using it to drink it, we use it to create and develop humanity.
So this is beautiful. So what you're saying is that every culture, apart from being good, that does not solve problems.
Yeah.
Every society now should be having a round table
Yeah.
within themselves, starting from families.
Yeah.
Any culture that is not solving problems should be jettisoned.
Yeah.
You mentioned something, that the centrality of the culture of God is universality.
Okay.
Now, universality from what you've taught us, shouldn't it be more of a spiritual unity than physical unity?
Yeah. God Almighty had already partitioned things the way it ought to be. Arab Emirates, they have oil. There are so many countries that don't have oil. Nigeria has oil, but there are so many countries that do not have oil. Then if truth is existing, the question is that there will be tolerance, there will be love, there will be creativity. Now what are we going to do now? How do we now? There is no way oil can be where it was not originally deposited by God. Now how do we use love and truth to push these things? That is the meaning of import and export. Push this thing not for the sake of making money, but in unity, so that a country that does not have this oil are going to have it at a reduced price, at a reduced rate, not in exploitative manner, but we now use what we have to exchange what they have, to strike a balance based on trade by barter. Is that okay? Yes, all right. So now there are certain ways God have created things in the physical world. But instead of it becoming a culture for entertainment, let it become a culture of productivity. Because that is what God intended it to be. Not for someone to begin now to use something to waste his time in life. Like all these dancers, magicians and all that. What are they contributing to society? And check of the time they invest in learning that culture, in practicing it. You find out that just inequality we said, you find out that those people who are sponsoring the cultural this thing are deliberately doing it so that they make sure that the poor become poorer and the rich become richer. That's why I asked you a question and throw a challenge to you. Have you seen a millionaire who is a village dancer?
Oh, no.
You understand? Yeah. Then a person who is dancing for the village is dancing for who? He's dancing for the rich. Yes. Then the rich will come and sit in a carved and a golden wood. And the king, the so-called useless king, are you there? Will now sit. You begin to look at so many people dancing. But the son and the daughter of a king will not dance. You understand? Yes. Then this is how it is. That is also how football came into being. Football was a culture of worshiping a demon in Rome. You understand? But because people don't edit reality, it continue pushing. They continue pushing it till it is found in the society now, destroying lives. Are we there?
Yes.
Okay, so the culture of God is what we have to hold on to. And the deceptive nature of it now, why religion is evil, is because so many people have abandoned their culture. Which is the reason why you see that many people are still suffering in ancestral spirits, tormenting them. Because every spirit wants expression in the physical world. Now, they now abandoned their own culture, as you're saying, and accepted religion, Roman culture, Roman paganism, because they have more propaganda. And when they now accepted religion as a way to God, as a way of worship, they abandoned their own way of worship. Now, spirits begin to torment them because they didn't cling on to God, to the universal principle of life. They didn't cling on to Jesus. They rejected their own culture and accepted Western culture, Roman culture, as a way of worshiping God. Then their ancestors got provoked and begin to attack them. On the light of saying, you sold a monkey and bought a dog, or you sold a monkey and bought a baboon, you still have a squatting animal. But your original intention was to get rid of a squatting animal in your compound. But you sold monkey and went and bought a baboon. You understand? So that's a problem. But if you have sold monkey and bought something that is not related to monkey, then you would have been free. So if culture is rejected and truth is accepted, there can never be a problem. Ancestors cannot go on a rampage and begin to torment people. So I think this is what you are. Your question is answered. Right? So cultures should be edited first by truth. When it is being edited by truth, then we check of the problem a culture is solving. When we check the creativity and the problem a culture is solving, and it is solving a problem and it is progressive in nature, then here we come. Because like palm wine, as I said, if palm wine now become refined and it begin to solve problem, it become universal. It become what? Universal. So a point will come that you won't even, when you see it solving a problem, you will not know that this thing is from Igbo land. Just like you don't know where the seed or the herbs that is used in producing Panadol is coming from. And Panadol, religion. Panadol work for a Muslim, Panadol work for a Christian, Panadol work for a pagan, Panadol work for a magician, Panadol work for everybody. Is that? Yes, as a tablet. But why is it that the cultures brought by men are not universal?
Okay, sir.
Is your question answered?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Okay.
So this is bringing me to another question now.
Okay.
Now, having known this, that these people going to abandon their own culture. Tradition, so to say, and then imbibe another culture, and they are not connected to God, has led to the provocation of deity in charge.
Yeah, deity.
Now, what I want to ask is, does it mean, even if you should align your culture to that of God, does it mean that tradition should be thrown away by men? Having known that there are some persons, let's say in the area of marriage, every tribe has their tradition when it comes to marriage and some other vital things. So is it possible for men to completely throw away their tradition completely and then follow that of God?
Yeah. Okay.
And yes.
Okay.
So and if it is true, then what is the consequences, so to say?
Okay. Now, God is light.
Okay.
Culture that are not universal is darkness.
Okay.
That's what I say. That the culture of God is universal, but culture of men is variable.
Okay.
So if you cling on to culture of men, if you cling on to culture of men, then you find out that as time passes by, it causes problem in the society. As time passes by, those that realize themselves begin to live above such culture. Then if those people who are living above those culture are not clinging on to the universal laws of God, then their ancestor will come and attack them. Okay. Because that in which they have agreed as a culture has already generated a spirit that is working underground, whether you acknowledge it or not. So the only thing that can make you to reject a culture and survive is if you hold on to Jesus, if you hold on to truth, if you hold on to something that is not Roman in nature or cultural in nature, but is universal. Because God has his own culture. You understand? So now, coming to the marriage you're talking about, are you talking about a marriage as culture? Now, if I may ask you, the culture of God about marriage, in the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 14 or 24, that a man should
Leave his father.
leave his father and mother and get married to a wife, and two of them become one. I think this is a culture of God, you know, and it was still said in the book of Genesis, go on the earth, have dominion over things and multiply. So now, this is a universal culture that have already been brought for humanity regarding marriage. But in a situation where by somebody begin now to tell you, don't marry somebody, like in the Old Testament and even in Igbo land, who does not speak your language. Can't you see problem is coming? Don't marry somebody who doesn't have the same culture with you. Don't marry someone who is not of the same color with you, even if the person has truth. Now, what do we do? You know, it's causing a lot of problem now. Now, religion is still also making it that if you are not a part of this denomination, you are not going to marry someone who is another denomination, even in Christendom. You understand? So you see why religion is evil? You see why God has already made a culture on marriage, but men are opposing it. Now, when culture as marriage become universal, you can marry anyone who has truth, which we ask, what is a country? Because it is in the laws of truth. What is a country? A country is a country, the citizens of a citizen of a country. They are not known by geographical location. They are not known by race. A country is a group of people who think alike, speak alike, and do things alike. Okay. Reason alike. That's why we have in the New Jerusalem a universal prayer, which is the prayer of the cross. Jesus is my Father. I will do and behave like him in all situations. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, give me the grace to fulfill this. So if you see anyone, no matter the tribe, no matter the culture, as long as that person have the spirit of Christ, which is the spirit of truth, the spirit of solving problem, understand? Then you are free to get married to that person.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Is the issue of marriage now, are we getting it right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It's sorted out.
Pastor, I still have something to ask.
Okay.
Now, like you said, the culture of God is a man leaving his father and joined to a woman.
Yeah.
Now, if you come to Igbo tradition, culture, for a man and a woman to be considered married, the man has to pay what we call dowry.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to Fulani, for a man to marry, he has to, some of them, like the young man, have to receive 30 strokes of that their stick. Like, if you can stand it, you didn't cry, you stay and they hit you 30 times, you are qualified to be married.
Okay.
That is in their own way.
Okay.
Now, coming to this universal law of God, now, for a man to just carry a woman and both of them start living together as husband and wife, how is it justified?
Okay.
Without maybe this dowry or commitment to show that, yes.
Thank you very much. Have you seen it? Now, coming to the one of Fulanis, why must somebody beat you because you want to marry, get a wife, and get you injured? Have you seen it? So this is now a barbaric culture, which should be rooted out. Now, coming to paying bride price, which the Fulanis also pay. Cain is not bride price. Now, which the Fulani pay. Then, even in courts, if it is court marriage, you still pay some token for that. Now, yes, coming to the Igbo, it's still the same thing with that culture of going to court marriage to pay money to the registry. Now, but where it has become evil now or become wrong now is where you now, these people are paying a certain amount of money that is affordable and reasonable. But some people in Igbo use it as a business. Now you want to marry our daughter, you will still pay your last card and sell everything you want because it's our daughter. That is where it has now become wrong. But in a situation where it is done as a matter of commitment, just like putting somebody a ring, as a matter of commitment that yes, this person now is for me and I'm committing this, coming out from me as a covenant, as an agreement, fine.
Okay.
Then the amount of money is no longer needed. But the thing is, just did you fulfill that marital right that this person is mine? It's just like asking me, if you build a house after building a house, which is your own, you built by yourself, you leave the door open without buying a key to lock it. If you buy a key, or after building a house, you are looking for something that is universal. After building a house, somebody wants to give you a particular of the property you bought from a house. You say, no, I don't need it. We are practicing universal culture. Can you see? You are getting it wrong. Now, you leave your door open and say we are practicing a universal culture. No, you have to buy a key. But nobody should tell you the type of key you are going to buy. But the thing is that you need to lock it. So this is how it is in the marriage. When you want to marry someone, you have to bring a token as a matter of commitment. But people should not condition you to give you a weightier load. Right. In the book of Matthew chapter 11 verse 28, he said, all of you that are heavily laden by culture, religion and tradition, come to me, I will give you rest. I will give you a yoke, but my own yoke is light. So a universal culture is a light culture. It's not burdensome. People fulfill it with fulfillment and know that this is a nature and something we do. As we have it in the book of Isaiah chapter 55, he said, all of you that are hungry and thirsty, come and buy without price, without anything, but with commitment. So when you have love, tolerance, which is a universal culture, humility and understanding and divine wisdom, then you know that you are not conditioned by people, but these are the things which you must do. Then you drop it as a token, then they know that this person becomes yours, but not under a burden, not under a heavy yoke, as tradition and religion make demands or makes it be.
All right, thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
On this page, the last question on this note.
Oh, okay.
Having talking about tradition, we also know that the whites, I still want to talk about the marriage because I know someone out there might be asking.
Yeah,
now,
including you.
Including me.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
So when we're talking about the marriage aspect, okay, this traditional aspect has been handled, or the cultural aspect.
Okay.
Then we also discovered that the white wedding is the culture of the whites. And now, like, merging it with religion, it has come to the point whereby once you did not go to the church to wed the person and fix a ring, your marriage is not recognized by heaven. What do you have to say?
By heaven?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what the religion say. Have you seen why I'm saying religion must go? You understand? I've handled so many cases here where I used to tell people the only marriage that is recognized by heaven is I love you, you love me, I understand you, we understand you, then we go to your village and pay dowry. Marriage is ended. The issue of this thing is ceremonial. If you come to here for traditional wedding, for white wedding, it's up to you, but it is not compulsory. Is that okay? Yes. Okay, now why are we taking it very far? You got married, right? Here in the Embassy of the New Jerusalem. Have I ever told you about white wedding?
No pressure.
Yeah? There's no pressure to that. Now, he has a child. You get the point? Yes. Now, I will now begin to tell him that your marriage is not complete. It's not recognized because so we are doing things practical.
Like if
what is happening in the embassy, Roman
you
culture.
don't take Holy Communion if you have not done white wedding.
That is culture we are telling you. That's why we say religion must go. You understand? Now this is practical. He has done it, and that's all. Now, if he wants to do it, I don't want to abolish it.
Okay.
I'm not discouraging it. and I'm not encouraging it at the same time. Is that okay? But this is it. If he feels that he's so comfortable for white wedding, fine and good. But nobody would say that his marriage is not complete unless he comes to the altar.
So this is a beautiful one. I want to bring it to...
Did you get what I'm saying?
Perfect.
Nobody. That is still that religion. Roman paganism comes as a way of worshiping God. Roman culture comes as a way of worshiping God. And they slave humanity. And they begin to agree that this is what is it. What is white wedding? Ask him when I did my own white wedding, right? I don't have a pastor friend, nobody. It was him when he was thickly in religion that brought somebody who wedded us. It was nothing. We left. I don't think I've ever worn ring. Apart from that day. Then, but my marriage is the best in the world.
Wow. Glory.
You understand? It's the best in the world. Because the truth is greater than all other culture. The universal culture is the greatest.
So I want to...
Great.
Is that understood?
Yes.
All right. So don't burden anybody. Thank God you are now a New Jerusalemite. Is that okay? Now, when you want to get married now, nobody will burden you. Immediately your husband goes. Is it in the laws of truth or in our teaching? We say that the only thing that can stop marriage in the New Jerusalem is genotype. As long as genotype is the same, and these people have truths, we don't check history of your background. Any demon, any ancestral spirit that comes here must bow down.
Yeah. Glory.
Are you there? We don't check. Okay, your wife has a history of barrenness
Yes, sir.
caused by a demon.
Whole family.
The whole family. There were 3 married before the first daughter. Now, they even before he got married, I saw it.
You told me.
Yeah, I told you that this marriage,
You need somebody in the village to tell you.
yeah, that this thing is going to be end in barrenness. And I was the one who found a wife for him. 2 of us. He's my cousin, sister. Now I knew. But let them come with that problem of barrenness. And let deal with them ruthlessly. You understand? Because I'm a child of God. I'm a child of Jesus Christ. I'm operating with universal principle.
Yes, sir.
No cultural, nothing ancestral. So immediately their genotype become the same thing. They came, I say, go and get married. He went and got married to her. And when they came here, we now found out that the first one has not married. The younger that is married has not given birth to a child.
Still bet.
He had a stillbirth because they say no child will cry in that family. According to the charm they made days back. Now, the second one is not, it doesn't have a child.
Okay.
Now, this one was the first daughter who married lately. Now, when she came here, they got married. You know the first thing they said? I think, was she pregnant when they raised the issue of diabetes?
Not yet.
Not yet. She was not pregnant. Okay, now they went to a hospital. They say, he's diabetic. She's diabetic. And you know, as Satan is tricky, a diabetic patient does not conceive. Even if he conceives, he's going to have a challenge, a complication. Now, we have 3 types of deliverance: spiritual deliverance, attitudinal deliverance, and organic deliverance. Now, we brought organic. Within 2 months, she went to hospital. They couldn't see anything called diabetes.
Eating everything.
Yes, she's eating everything now. Yes. Diabetes disappeared to tell devil that you are still learning
That's right.
in the face of Jesus Christ. You know, I used to say that people say wounded Jesus. I used to say underutilized Jesus, underused Jesus because of religion. Now, the issue of barrenness now begin to hover on the air. Then we have to delve deep into the spiritual world. And we went to the spirit. Right from here in Abuja, within 10 minutes, we are in their locality, ransacking everywhere, and found out there was a charm buried, that there will never be a cry of a child in this family. Then we dug up the charm, burnt it into ashes spiritually, and called the demon that was monitoring and sucking blood, destroyed the demon in the spiritual world. Now, when we finish it, a month, it wasn't up to a month after our movement in the spiritual world to deal with this inherited demon. The first one conceived, 3 of them conceived in 1 month.
Holy Ghost. Wow.
Are you listening to me?
Wow.
Do you know what it takes to be a Christian?
Wow.
Yeah? A righteous person. Somebody is telling you ancestor. Somebody is telling you culture. Under my feet. Under the feet of any person who is a New Jerusalemite. 3 of them conceived in 1 month.
What?
Then when they conceived in 1 month, at the time of giving birth, they pointed out that your child was breached at the age of 7 months. 7th month. Now, it was 2 weeks for her to deliver. We were in the streets. We say, let us check in the church and look around. When we come checking in the church and looking around, we saw her standing up. Angel pointed out that there is emergency on this child, on this person. I say, what? He said, Jew's wife. She's about to deliver. But the position of this child is wrong. The child is not well positioned. We asked the angel, what do we do? The angel said that they have to reposition the child from being breached to being normal. Now, right there with the living water, the child was repositioned. Now, they say the cervix is not open because of her height and her stature. Then we say, what do we do? They say they should take 75 cl of living water. Immediately labor starts, so that the water will burst together with that and it will open the cervix. Then, I called you, you were in the office there.
Yes,
I gave you a call and told you, look at what we found out in the spiritual world. And this is the solution hereafter. But as for the child, we have repositioned the child.
The evolution of all negative culture.
You understand? So we are burying cultures by fire, by force. You know? Now, immediately that is done, a week or 6 days afterwards, then labor started. They took the 75 cl of living water. Then, within 2 hours, nobody remembered a child is breached. Within 2 hours, the wife delivered safely in Kuchingoro
She
Hospital.
went to the hospital by 9.
Okay.
And we came back to the house by 6.
They came back to the house by 6. Have you seen it? Defining all cultures, because we have a universal culture. So it's not talk we are talking. It's a practical things.
So,
Are you listening to me?
Satisfied.
So Fulani, I don't know whether you're a Fulani.
No,
You understand?
yes.
So every culture should be brought to that centralized point. You know, we have made an announcement and said, any demon is pursuing in the village or asking you to come and worship it or her or she or whatever, come to the embassy of the New Jerusalem. It will cost you nothing.
Yes.
We will go there, get that demon slaughtered, spirit to spirit and matter to matter, so that we will be able to teach and practice that universal culture we're talking about. So anything that stops marriage is that genotype. And that even thank God, which we don't want to dare for now anyway, but we have gotten a cure organically for sickle cell anemia. We have a sickle cell anemia now. God has revealed unto us what to pin that crisis, the mistake their ancestor made. Talk more of cultural nonsense.
Glory. Wow.
So this is beautiful. I hope
Satisfaction.
I can come in now.
Yeah. Go on, ask questions.
Yes,
Cultures are going. They are all barbaric.
Wow.
So you know that this edition of cultures have already started.
Okay.
You know, during your marriage,
Yeah.
not applied to everyone.
Yeah.
There was a marital rights edition that took place.
Okay.
You know that in most marriages alcohol is used,
Okay.
but in your marriage,
Yeah.
alcohol was banned
Yeah.
by, I don't know how it happened, but by spiritual orchestration.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that that's part of the edition we're talking of that is taking place.
Okay.
I'm going to ask a question to this later on.
Yeah.
How this edition, how the spread, Brother Chode talked about at the beginning, how we can facilitate the spread of this so that other people accept it. But before then, I want to come in. So you know that the culture is the highest problem of Africa. You realize that in Igbo land, one of our predominant cultures is ostentatious display of wealth. You realize that in Yoruba land, one of their cultures, predominant cultures, is celebration and display of consumption, consumables, wealth, display. Now I realize that in the north,
Hausa.
the Hausas,
Yes.
part of their own culture is conservatism in respect to certain social issues. So you find out that these cultural variations are really the main problem facing Africa. And I remember, sir, that you mentioned that we should be interested in exporting cultures that are solving problems.
Yeah.
I remember that immediately after our independence, the Igbos are known for exporting palm oil.
Yeah.
The culture of the Igbos in productivity is palm oil to the world.
Yeah.
Now the culture of the Yorubas in productivity is exporting cocoa. Now the culture of the North is the granite pyramid. But now all these positive creative cultures have disappeared. Now my question now comes up as a way of recapping. What do we do? How can this regeneration happen fast with the resources of them? Is there any way this cultural regeneration can happen within these regions of Africa especially, so that people will imbibe positive cultures even when our resources have not reached them yet?
No, the point here now is that you don't even talk about time and space in circulation of things that is natural and something that is universal. And we are not even suffocating in order to spread this truth. As long as it is truth and in a square form, it is just a matter of must and time and space that it must get to the end of the earth. What we have to concern ourselves is, what are we saying? Is it centralized? Is it universal? Is it perfected? Understand? Can it be faulted in any way? Then, time of its spreading, every person accepts truth when he has tested evil and gets tired, especially an adult, which means adulterated mind. Now, we have discussed it severally in our teaching, that what is agriculture? Agreeing with the culture of nature. So you can now talk about the Igbos exporting palm oil, Yorubas exporting cocoa, and Hausas exporting granite. It is because of the fact, what I said, immediately the Western culture come, Arabic culture come, and begin to colonize them, they drop all they have. Instead of improving on it,
Exactly.
inferiority complex comes onto them, then the Igbos now drop their own culture and begin to strive. That's brought that to ostentatious display. And still to strive that even though after Civil War, they were being denied money by the government and by the religion and by whichever way political things. Now let us prove to them that we still have money irrespective of the denial of money. That's what brought about the Igbo's greed towards money, which is not aboriginally their nature. Now, they begin now to borrow that culture imposed upon them to prove a point that even though we were being denied money, this is it. But instead of remaining who they are, continue consistently over time, they will be able to measure, but they have run out from their culture and they didn't grab the original and the true culture. Then they begin to suffocate. Or in the display of their wealth, what have they amounted to? The answer is nothing. They are still running around a circle, killing themselves, fighting themselves, envying themselves, competing on one another. Then, before, originally when it started, just like we have it in 47th laws of truth, truth is transferable and expansive. But lie is transferable but not expansive. When lie begin to spread, it fights themselves. So originally when the Igbo people started, they wanted to show maybe the Yorubas or the Hausas or the world, they are tough. But today, they are eating themselves, destroying themselves. Why? Because it was a culture built on lies. You understand? Now, that is their own payback. Yoruba, the same thing. They have Lagos. They were the first to embrace the Western culture. To them, they are civilized. You know, by their smart game and slippery and variability. They are not reliable in anything. They don't hold anything so seriously as in to make something out of it. Now, what have they amounted to? Nothing. Their culture is already corrupt. The only thing they are dragging now is that they speak their language. And so what? Has it been able to solve problem? The answer is no. But if they have agreed with the culture of nature and hold on to that, then there is no way. Are we there?
Yes,
they would not have been peace, number one. Number two, there is no way they would not have gained those things which they are looking for now in error and with a smart way of struggling to belong. Coming to the Hausa, the same thing, religion came, destroyed the Hausas, and now produces too many alamanjaris and beggars and justify beggar. And one person can come and use the touts to cultivate, and they say, yes, I'm Alhaji. I am the anointed person. God does not give wealth equally. There is a particular person he gives wealth. So if you didn't get the tally of God as to be blessed, then you remain a beggar. Then people now, instead of going to the farm, are now under the bridge. So many people are even praying that they will give birth to a child that is crippled and blind, so that they will have source of income of making money, because religion has justified it. You see how humanity were being ruled? You see how Africa were being ruled? So ruined. So now, to restore this is nothing but the spread of the universal truth. Of course, my father said it before he left. He said, when the Son of God dies and resurrected, he will be lifted up and all nations will come under him. And in the book of Revelation chapter 21, he says in the days of the New Jerusalem, the nations that are saved will bring their treasure to the New Jerusalem. So this is the era of truth. But as for how it's going to spread, the zeal of the Lord will accomplish it. But if whether religion is going, it is a must, because we have something, a culture from heaven that works and solves a problem.
Lord.
Is that okay? All right. When did phone come, MTN come into?
2000.
It came in the year 2000, right? I bought my online 25,000 naira. Okay? But today, is there any community that don't have phone? If you don't have phone, it is that you cannot afford it.
Exactly.
Why? Because phone is truth and it solves problem. Packaged to fullness. There is no religious sentiment, tribalism in phone. The Yoruba uses a same phone with the Igbos, and the Igbos uses a same phone with everything. So we are not coming with human culture. It is a must that, okay, but religion has been for how many years? For over 3,000 years. You know, over 3,000 years. Christianity as a religion has existed for 2012 years before the coming of the New Jerusalem in the year 2012. So, as long as we are coming with a universal culture, and phone was able, within a space of 23 years, circulate all over Africa, then the zeal of the Lord will accomplish it according to the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 6 to 7. The zeal of the Lord will accomplish it. Our own concern is to make sure that what we are bringing out is squared. It is universal, it is internal, and it is solving
Problem. Thank you so much,
That's
sir.
why too, like Sister Susie was talking about marriage.
Yeah.
That's why if you look at like our Igbo culture in Africa, sometimes they subdue women.
Yeah.
Wives. Maybe you used to say maybe the family moves to the Western world. You see that it becomes a conflicting thing. Now, the power of women becomes more than the men.
Yes, that is what we have taught here, and we continue teaching. Who is the head in the family? A head in the family is a person who solves problems, a person who has truth, not gender, not sex, nothing, but a person who has truth. And that is why our culture here is from each according to his ability and to each according to his need. But you people have not even asked me what is culture. You see, this is where people are really getting it. Overlap, because you just want to tell me your culture has to be promoted and all that.
Okay.
Why haven't you asked me what is culture?
Okay.
The word culture is gotten from the word cult.
Okay.
A habit, a lifestyle, something which you do day in, day out, that becomes your lifestyle. So, to a large extent, every person, even God, has a cult, which is a culture. So every person is a cultist. Every tribe is a cultist. You understand? So long as you have a culture you identify with. But the point now is that there is a secret society, a secret cult, and an open cult, which we covered in the laws of truth, 28 laws of truth. That truth is an open secret. Nature does not hide any truth from any person who is interested to learn. That is why in the book of John chapter 16 verse 13, he says, howbeit when the Spirit of truth comes, he will lead you to all truths. It will not speak of his own, but it will tell you of the things to come. The only thing why men are not absorbing truth and living by it or accessing God is because religion has blocked the way. Two, they are no longer interested in paying attention to things of God, to study nature and understand it. So now, when you are talking about a culture, a cult is something you do regularly. So if you have a sin which you do, a secret sin which you perform, you are already a cultist. Then you are a secret cultist because you are doing that in the secret. So a cultist is the Illuminati and all that. They are a group of people who formed a culture of how we are going to make money, right? And dominate. Now this is the principle. It is only a person that is in this culture and in this cult that is going to assess this truth they called the truth of the culture of those groups. Now that's what in the laws of truth which we tell you that religion is social accepted evil by nature, and is supposed to be in a standard society. Every religionist need to be arrested because they are causing crime, havoc in the society. But they are opposing nature indirectly in a subtle way. But because it is a social accepted evil, people have neutralized that and don't know that it is a cult, it is evil. And that is the reason why we are now telling you that even God himself has a culture, and we have been talking about it time without number. That the meaning of agriculture means agreeing with the culture of nature. So any religion who does not agree with the culture of nature cannot farm and cultivate and have produce. That is the reason why the people in the north agree with the culture of Arabs. Their production in agriculture dropped. Igbo people agree with the culture of Roman because dominantly they are Catholics. Their culture dropped because they disagree with nature. They agree now with the culture of the cults of their ancestors. They become paganism. They become pagans. Now their relationship with God, with the culture of God Almighty, dropped. They begin now to suffer and die either by poison or that. Now the Yorubas have agreed also with the culture of the Westerns, the Western people, and their relationship and their culture with God dropped. So everything which you do as a habit, as a lifestyle, is a culture. The question now is whether it is a secret cult or an open cult. But religion now, which is supposed to be a secret cult, has become a social accepted cult, a social accepted evil. Yes, socially accepted evil, which now neutralize the power of God, which Jesus was saying in the book of Matthew chapter 15 verse 6. He said, you people have used the traditions of men, the culture of men, to make the word of God of no effect. So before religion finished their culture of speaking in tongues, their culture of fasting, their culture of midnight prayer, their culture of visiting motherless baby, their culture of celebration, their culture of Western white wedding, their culture, people get tired. Before you see God, you get frustrated. Are you listening to me? Before you see God, you get frustrated. When you get frustrated, either you bounce back to paganism, or you look for another religion to belong, or you belong to a cult. But if men should now know what is culture and what is a cult, then we should also become a cultist according to the will of God. Then the reason now is that it's going to be an open culture, just as we are sharing our secret of what makes us peaceful in the New Jerusalem, fulfilled in the New Jerusalem, living above satanic manipulation, moving anywhere in the world, solving problem, providing solution to humanity. We are making it open. So it is a cult, but it is an open cult according to the 28 laws of truth, that truth is an open secret. So this is the difference. But if whether we are in a court, yes, we are in a court, but it is an open court, and it is the culture of God that we are into. That is the reason when we come to the New Jerusalem, we now say that we have two types of members. We have truth members and the church member. The truth member are those who hear the word and the teaching of the New Jerusalem and fail to put it into practice. The truth members are people who hear the word of God and put it into practice. They are going to bring 30-fold, 40-fold, 60-fold, according to the book of Matthew chapter 12 verse 23. Now, because the word of God fell in them as a fertile ground. Now, the church members are those who are coming and listening to the teaching of the New Jerusalem, but they are not obeying it. So, but for God to accept you, you must be a part of his court, which is an open court, a universal court, which is open and thrown open to everybody.
Thank you.
This is underground, you just opened up some certain things. That's to the meaning of court, yes.
And how it is related to
yes, to culture. So a lot of people are struggling. It's not only religion. Different kind of religion are brought division in the world. A lot of people, the Illuminati are coming. So many people are forming a cult. Lesbianism are forming a cult. Homosexualists are forming a cult. These people, bandits are forming a cult. Kidnappers are forming a cult. Politicians are forming a cult. Terrorists are forming a cult. Everybody is sweating because nobody have seen a universal truth. Then why won't we be at the center of the world when our cult is It's an open court, and everybody can access us.
Thank you very much.
Thank
sir.
you.
This is really, you've really exhausted this topic.
Okay.
But I still have one more.
Yeah. Have
because-
two more. Ask your questions, okay?
Because it's really versatile.
Okay.
See, it's a very wide topic.
Okay.
Now, when we're talking about culture, I also want to talk about culture when it comes to leadership.
Okay.
When it comes to rulership,
Okay.
if you come to certain geographical locations or cultural groups,
Yeah.
they'll tell you that making a king
Yeah.
in their own aspect, there are things that should be observed before somebody can be pronounced a king.
Okay.
If you go to the Yoruba land, the same thing. If you come to Nigeria, the same thing as a nation.
Okay.
So now we really want you to speak on that aspect
Okay.
of the universality of making a leader, both in the home, what really makes a person
A leader.
Not
Okay.
necessarily like, I don't want to throw it as a question, but let the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausas understand, the whole world understand what it takes to become a leader, not necessarily using the cultural background or yardstick.
For culture. Okay. There is what they call a dynasty.
Okay?
Empire. Is that?
Exactly.
Okay. Dynasty is a situation whereby oligarchy as well. Yeah. Whereby certain people, just like people in Judaism, in those confused years, where they say only Levites are qualified to be priests.
Exactly.
Now coming to the extensions of religion, Christian religion, they say that a woman cannot stay in the pulpit to preach. Now, we now come and begin to say, who is a leader? A leader is a person who is busy solving problems, doing what he enjoys doing. And people look at him and say, please, we want to follow you. Teach us how you are solving this problem. He becomes a leader. A leader is not by election. A leader is by selection, based on your report card and the problem you have been able to solve to humanity. There is nothing like dynasty before God. There is nothing like oligarchy before God. There is nothing of such before God, because God is universal. So it is your report card. In the book of Matthew chapter 10 verse 25, Jesus says, if you don't believe that I'm a son of God, believe because of the works I do. So every leader, we should check your report card. How many problems have you been solved? We have plutocracy and we have meritocracy. Plutocracy is a place where the bourgeoisie or somebody is employed, is become a leader based on the fact that he has money or he has influence. He has a status. But a meritocracy is where an engineer becomes a minister of works. Are you there? Why an agriculturalist become a minister of agriculture? Where that is meritocracy. You are occupying a position because you merited it, not because people imposed you there or selected you there, or you imposed yourself there or intimidated people to be there. So a leader is a person who is busy solving a problem. A true leader never wanted to lead anybody. He is just mindful of solving problems. Before people now say, okay, come and lead us, or God come and say, come and lead these people. That's what happened to David. That's what happened to all the prophets. Isaiah, when God was called Isaiah to become a leader, a messenger of God, he said, no, I'm not going to be. I'm a man with unclean lips. In the book of Isaiah chapter 6. Now God said, I'm going to deliver you. When God called Moses to become a leader, he said, no, I'm a stammerer. And God said, no problem. Aaron will support you. So long as you didn't beg me so that you can talk, I who created the mouth. Okay, your brother is going to support you to become that leader. Is that? Okay. When Jeremiah was called, Jeremiah said, no, I'm not going to be a leader. And let me continue doing what I'm doing. Now God said, no, before you were born, I have ordained you a leader. When Amos was called to become a prophet, When he went to send a message to the prophet, they call him a prophet. He said, no, I'm not a prophet. I'm attending to sycamore tree in the book of Amos chapter 7. Then I was called by the Lord to deliver this message for you. Immediately I finished delivering this message, I have to go back to my sycamore tree because that is what my own area of calling. So a leader is not this gyration people are doing. Somebody will come and begin to bribe people to vote for you. Just like the leadership in the church today, so many people have turned it into a political party. So many churches, before they select a general overseer, after the death of general overseer, they don't consult God, they bribe people and say, vote for me to become a general overseer. Is that a church or a political party? Then that is a question you will answer me when I'm done. Now, my very self, when I was called to be doing what I'm doing today as a messenger of God, I never for one day, I resisted it right from the time I was in university, coming to the year 2011, when it became intense that I was called. I said, no, I didn't come to become a man of God to the capacity of telling people who do not want to listen, whose mind are distracted. I want to make money and live my life. And I was on it. So God, I'm not going anywhere. Are you listening to me? So coming to leadership. A leader is that person whom the followers will never like to kill or oppose or take over his position. Why? Because they can't do what he's doing. A leader is a man who go extra mile. Just as Jesus said, John chapter 10, I gave my life so that I can pick it when I need it. You get the point? So a leader is a person who does what? Who solves a problem. In the family, we say, truth is a leader of the family. The invisible leader of a family is truth. So whoever has truth, whoever brings peace, whoever solves problem, whoever is humble, whoever tolerates one another, whoever forgives, whoever is patient, whoever is calm, is a leader of a family. Not by title, not by color, not by sex, not by anything, not by age, but by the knowledge of truth. That's why David was selected, a man after God's own heart. He was the youngest, yet God chose him. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now, I come again by the word which you said. You went to secondary school and primary school to university. Fine and good. You know there's something they call massets. Inside massets, there are components you see. One thing you see there is a ruler. What is the meaning of a ruler? A ruler as a mathematical instrument was something devised so that nobody would cheat one another. That is the scepter of justice. Are you there? Scepter of justice and righteousness. That we say, take 5 cm out of these 2 bars of yam. And in this plot, you have 2 meters and 2 centimeters. You who is into estate management, I think you really help me in this one. Is that okay? Now, you bring a ruler and cut that yam according to the cm everybody have. When there is a ruler, can anybody cheat one another? Eh? Why? Because it's a standard of measurement. That's why in the book of Isaiah, he's saying that the scepter of Jesus Christ should be justice. The maize he carries. Then the Igbo people call it Ofo. Is that okay? Now, when you now have that ruler, and whatever you are doing, you don't do it to benefit yourself. As Jesus said in the book of John, he says that why I'm a good judge is because I don't judge for it to benefit me. And whatever I hear my father say, that's what I say. Is that okay? So a ruler should be someone who has a ruler. Let's put it this way. You know, so that when a problem comes and people bring the issues for you, you will be able to use that ruler to make sure that everybody gets his own proportion without eating from anybody, without taking your own court selflessly. Then that makes you a leader. not that whether you are good or bad, you must be a leader, like what is happening in Nigeria, but we are coming.
So in essence,
And some people burying 7 heads and all of
That
that.
that one is no longer, that is a secret court we are now talking. Because burying the 7 hells is a wrong way, which it means you don't have a ruler, you are killing somebody in order to sustain your leadership, which is an error. I think the universal aspect of making a king is coming now. Is that okay? Right. Okay. Now, to a large extent, I am your spiritual leader, right? Okay. Why are you following me? Which, to a large extent, you are not following me indeed. You are following the word. It's the truth I have. Because if the truth I have been giving you is not working, just like the religious leaders do, you'll be following me under compulsion, under intimidation, under threat. How many times have I told you that if you disobey me, you go to hell? How many times have I said, if I be a man of God? You will die before this if you disobey me.
Just like one of our testifiers who said she stopped going to church for over 6 years.
Okay.
Because what she had heard for long has not changed her.
It has not changed
She
her.
encountered
Are you
different
there?
things.
So today, people are following men of God, obeying men of God. Out of fear. I've said it someday. All these general overseer, they don't have 2 people. One, they have changed their life completely and conclusively.
they are
2
not
people.
themselves.
They have changed their life completely and conclusively, that person can think independently without them. 2, they don't have 2 people that are close to them, including their wife, who are sincerely following them from the bottom of their hearts, who can defend them above money,
Without sentiment.
without sentiment. But they are following them because of the money they have. Are you there? Yes. So that what they are going to get from them materially. But I can tell you, we have more than 100 people here who are coming to church, following me. The closest people around me are not following me because of what I'm going to give to them in terms of material things. But they are following me from the bottom of their hearts. That even when I am around or not around, the same value they have for me is retained. But you go to churches, psych the closest person to the PA of a pastor, is there, forget about them. A pastor came here. Are you there? A pastor came here from one of the notorious known churches, who said he pastored a church for 10 years. After pastoring for 10 years, it's a Yoruba church, a Yoruba culture, a Yoruba religion, in the disguise of Christianity. Now, the woman came and said, when there was war in the Maiduguri, all the Yorubas were transferred from back to here, and people who are not Yorubas pastoring there were pushed to the war front to go and run a church. Somebody that have pastored for 10 years. Now, 2, he says, one of them collected tithes and remitted to the church 4,000 naira, one of the pastors. He went to them and said, 1,000 naira. He went to the man and said, Pastor, my fellow pastor, what you realize is 4,000 naira and you are remitting 1,000 naira. He said, are you blind? Is this not business? Stay there. You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah. Is this not
Fellow pastor was telling
a fellow pastor? Is this not business? What's my business? So that man who had a good heart began now to realize, hey, so I'm wasting my destiny here. Then he had to do what? To run away. And he stopped going to church. So when his in-law was telling him to come here, he said, no, I'm done with pastors. A pastor who have pastored for how many years? 14 years. So you find out that they are not following these people because they love him. But they are following him as Judas was following Jesus Christ. That this is it. You also were once struggling when you were running for your dear life. Yeah? Before you came to the embassy. You joined you intended joining pastoral group. Ministerial work. All right? Then when they went for a ministerial meeting, he was trying to tell them that this is how this thing should be. He said, no, you don't preach this in the public. They begin to edit the word of God before they bring it to the public. Can you see? Now, how can somebody who is following you trust you? It becomes survival of the fittest.
Exactly.
I have seen or heard where a pastor finished a program and a person who is a drummer asks him, pay me my money. He refuses. He come and carry the drum. I've seen where a pastor went to same market in Apo, bought drum, guitar, and everything. They brought it with church members. They drop it. The following day, the people that brought it come and stole the whole thing and go and sell back. Are you there? Because they know it is a business. You know one of the biggest churches they built today, you know, now when they were building it, what happened? The contractors were there. Members of the church. Elders were eating this man. Inflating costs. Inflating costs. Which one of us, Emmanuel Eke, they consulted him as a road dealer, as a contractor, and told him, if they tell you, church is a church member trying to go for Bible school. If they tell you to bring 10 trucks, you bring 3 trucks. Then the 7 will know how to share it. The guy said, my conscience cannot carry this. He said, there is no need taking you to madam now. So you are not going to continue with this. He did all he could for his contract to be approved. Nobody accepted him. And these are the core people. You know, a house that will cost ₦1 billion, they use up to 2 billion naira to build it. You understand? So this is that wrong leadership. Why are they eating you bomber to bomber? Because they still know you as a leader. There is a way you are playing games. So it becomes survival of the fittest. I told you people a story. Here, after church service, you see children picking money, taking to media to go and announce that they picked money. When in the time of difficulties, when there was cashless society, a child, one of us here, who were cleaning my office, went to my drawer and see bundles of money. I forgot. I kept in my drawer and forgot it. They called themselves. Look at what I saw in the servant's office. They said, okay, when the servants came, they brought bundles of money. I began to call people. The money you people are looking for has come. I called Jude, chairman, I said, come and take a part of it. By then, you know, there was no money. You know? Then, if it were to be in another place where they are not trained to be one with me, one with the leader, the money will be diverted. You will not know. And when you come, the person will use his forehead and knock on the ground. Greeting you. Yes.
Oh.
He will swear because you don't even know. Oh, but the type of greeting that day is going to change. So that you will not even suspect anything. You get the point? So for we to become a good leader, that's why many of them die young. The way to become a leader is to learn how to set other people free. We're talking about physics, the laws of center of gravity.
Yeah.
The only way to be a good leader and live long and people enjoy you is to make sure that anyone who passes through you must be greater than you.
That's right.
That's number one. That you free every of them and every secret you have, you release it to them. That's number two. Then to make sure that power is not centralized on you. You become weak. Why they become stronger? Make sure that you become weak. Why they become stronger? That's the way to become a leader. So a leader would like to see people progress. Now, look at what is happening here in the embassy of the New Jerusalem. When you come, we are not telling you to pray, fast, and all that. We put you in a business. If you have one, we monitor your business. If you bring your money we don't understand, we tell you no. Don't bring those money here. Go and use it in your business. We want you to grow.
Yes.
So, am I now telling you what it takes to be a leader? A leader must operate with the universal principle of love. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, and pray and ask God that those that are following you will be greater than you. Any secret you have, reveal it to them, because you one day die and they can continue where you stopped.
This is awesome.
Is that okay? Okay. More questions.
I want to wrap it. Because if I say, let me pop up the questions.
Do you have any other question as regards culture, as regards leadership? You know, because this are sine qua non. Life is so sweet, but when you bring a burden on you, you are controlling 1 million people. Before they do anything, they must call you on phone, and you are raising your shoulder because people are falling, causing stampede because you are passing on the road. Imagine me. Let me put it that way. I go to market, nobody knows me. How free do you think I will be? You know, I'm only known in the spiritual world, but here, nobody knows me. I come to your shop, I'm one that used to come to pick you, we drive in the market, you know, but there is no place anywhere in the universe, in the spiritual world, I'm not known.
That's right.
I've not been, and I'm to be. But my strength is not in the physical things. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Wow, what an awesome...
So that's culture. We brought the culture of heaven,
Exactly.
a universal culture. Yeah, and that's what we need to do to populate the earth with it.
So it's really very, very expansive.
Okay.
And because of time, if you begin to apply it to every aspect, talking about burial, how people relate to it, talking about this, and we're not going to leave here today, but from what we have heard today,
Burial still, we have the in YouTube, we made what?
yes, there's already...
Why the dead should not be celebrated.
Exactly.
And still as a culture, it's still barbaric for someone to spend fortune for a dead person. Why the living are suffering. So when you go to there, you still get it. So any culture you need us to treat, it doesn't solve any problem. A person who is dead is dead. Then the person should be buried and forgotten. Is that okay? Let nothing of a man be remembered except what? The legacy of truth and the problem the person solved. Okay. People should continue with it. I had said this someday, and I'm still saying it. Like tomorrow, if I die, nobody should do anything like the remembrance of my dead my dead dates.
Okay, so what about the white clothes thing they need to wear for 6 months, or the black clothes, or as a culture?
As a culture.
Is it supposed to be? Because you said nobody should, but like morning clothes now. Yes.
Morning clothes.
Yes.
Yes. That is a minor culture now. We are going to talk about it.
Okay.
Is that okay? Yes. If you want to wear morning clothes, it's up to you. But to a large extent, when we talk about the danger of burying the dead, as soon as somebody is dead, don't bring any symbol One, you will stop that person from going where he's going, supposing he's living right. Because that emotion is going to drop the person back. Two, you are going to have a challenge. Because that person can hurt you as soon as you begin to remember the person. Like people who are wearing a polo of people who are dead, you know, and having obituary as their jotter and all that. All those things has a magnetic force. As soon as you remember that person, you push that person back. You remember when Saul consulted Samuel, you know, he said, why are you disturbing me? You know, those that practice necromancy, then the dead are being trapped when your attention is onto them. Is that okay? So those clothes that have the picture of a person who died, immediately after that it can be used for identification of the siblings or the grandson or whatever within that time of celebration. But after it is done, everybody should burn that and let the dead continue. And no fortune or money should be spent in the name of culture of burying people, like what happened in Igbo land, where somebody sell a land to bury a dead person. If you ask them, they say the last right, the last respect. That is the last punishment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Wow, this is really holistic, and really thank you so much for your time. You know, it has really exhausted this message. You see this topic, culture, he nailed it. So really appreciate the servant for that wide knowledge. You know, he's ready to pour out more. It's not that he just want to take the time, but he just wants us to know this thing. So we can just see that passion, that burden, just for us to understand this reality, this truth we're talking about. So in a nutshell today, and looking at what we have talked about, he said, culture or no culture, everything we need to understand today is that the culture of God is what we are talking about, and that is truth. So it doesn't mean that you should rule away completely, but even as you are observing your tradition that makes you unique in your own tribal or ethnic group, you should be able to align it with the culture of God. Does it synchronize? Does it solve problem? Is it creative? So a lot of people have shown away their originality because they're trying to welcome foreign cultures, and thereby the whole thing has crashed. So today I will not go back to what the servant has said because it is extensive. But one thing you should pick home today is that so long as the culture is not helping, is not solving problem, is not profitable, discard it, and buy the culture of God that is ready to give you peace, that is a joy. So we've come to the end of today's edition, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Also comment and tell us how you feel about today's episode. It is wow, you know? And don't forget to share it to your friends and loved ones. Thank you so very much. And I also want to introduce this book, as I always do, The Laws of Truth. I want you to know that the laws of truth is everything you're looking for. When we're talking about universal culture, unifying our cultures, please grab this book. When you go through it, you understand that we are one. We are one country, we are one nation, speaking one language, thinking alike, and behaving alike. So you have to get this book so that all of us can be one. Thank you. And we also have the Book of Excellence. The Book of Excellence have come to modify our cultures, our nation, our leadership, and everything. I remain Divine Susie, and I come your way some other time. Thank you so very much.